Welcome to Paul's Heart. I'm Paul, author of the book Paul's Heart, Life as a Dad and a 35-year cancer survivor, available on Amazon. In my last video, I talked about November being Lung Cancer Awareness Month, and I spoke about my father who passed away from lung cancer many years ago. I also mentioned the fact that I myself am dealing with a lung cancer diagnosis. Wanted to go into a little more detail about that. In order to discuss this, I have to go back a little bit. I was treated for Hodgkin's lymphoma back in 1988. Coming up this month will mark, if I do the math right, 37 years ago that I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. I was treated with high-dose radiation and also chemotherapy, a regimen called MOP-ABV. I won't go into the details on this video. And I got through it. And as many cancer survivors or cancer patients are told, you get to that 5-year mark and you're good to go. It's not going to come back. We have no reason to watch you. And unfortunately, they were wrong. So that'll be another video where I talk about the importance of follow-ups beyond that 5-year mark. Okay, so what happened was in 2008, so almost 18 years after I had finished my treatments, I had developed a tightness in my chest, and I'm trying to focus so that I stay on the path of the discussion of lung cancer. It was at that point that I had to have emergency heart surgery. And during one of the pre-surgical testings that I had, they had ordered a CAT scan on me, and it was discovered that I had a nodule on my right lung. Now, it was a tiny nodule. It wasn't even measurable, but it got noted on the report. The next year, another CAT scan had been ordered on me, and this nodule had been noticed to grow just a little bit again. No details on what the nodule was. Well, as it would turn out, year after year after year, I would have this CAT scan done at this point to follow up on that nodule to see if it developed into anything. Again, my father having had lung cancer, of course I wanted to stay on top of it. So I agreed to the annual CAT scans, and we watched as this thing grew. Again, year after year, there was never any identification what it was until several years ago. It grew to a larger size, still slow growing, but still also unidentified. Also noticed were a couple more nodules growing. Doctors attribute this to my treatment with radiation therapy to my upper body. So about 4 or 5 years ago, the doctors who read my CAT scans decided to add a description to the report, and they used the term similar, resembling an indolent adenocarcinoma. Now, I had to look up the word indolent, which means slow growing, and in adenocarcinoma, I know carcinoma is cancer, and I just kind of affiliated that with lung cancer. So basically now they had the feeling about 4 years ago that this is resembling a very slow growing cancer, not one that they were worried about, because if you read up on it, indolent adenocarcinomas are so slow growing that you're not likely to ever have to worry about it, that you will probably die from natural causes of something else. So they don't really worry about it. It's still just a matter of how much and how fast it grows. So the next year, it grew some more. And I began seeing a pulmonologist who had the idea that he wanted to either biopsy the nodule or actually do what's called a wedge section of my lung, removing that nodule as well as the area around it, what they call the peripheral cells. I did what I do normally for myself. I advocate for myself and I sought out a second opinion. The idea of a needle biopsy possibly collapsing my lung, and definitely not liking the idea of having my chest open again, which, another issue with my Hodgkin's history is risks with any kind of surgeries. So I wasn't looking forward to that. If this was just a slow growing nodule, even if it turned out to be cancer and not something I had to worry about, I was going to let this go. But this doctor, this pulmonologist, really wanted to pursue that. I ended up seeking a second opinion. Of course, I found a doctor that I liked because she told me what I wanted to hear. Now, it wasn't perfect, but she agreed that there was no need right now to biopsy it and or even remove it. Now, she isn't letting me go off the hook completely because she said I do have my limits with how far and how fast this thing will grow. And right now, as I'm looking at my report, it measures 12 millimeters by 12 millimeters, and there's a solid component in the center about 4 millimeters. The measurements, she gave them to me. She said, I will allow it to grow to 20 millimeters. And I will allow that center component, that solid component, to measure 5 millimeters. Or rather 7 millimeters, I'm sorry. And she said at that point, we have to sit down and have a conversation with what is best for you to do. So right now, I'm not thinking about it. I heard what I wanted to hear, that I've got more time. It's still not technically identified, but the exact words written on here, this remains concerning for slow growing adenocarcinoma. Continued surveillance. So, and there are more nodules that they've noticed, and again, they're not going to pay attention to them as long as they aren't a certain size either. So it may sound weird to be facing another cancer and not be worried about it. I do have other issues with my late side effects with my heart and other stuff like that. So this lung nodule, whether it's cancerous or not, while I wait for it to be confirmed, may be a non-issue for me. But this is Lung Cancer Awareness Month, so it is definitely something that I'm definitely aware of. Again, this kind of issue does not hit everybody who's had radiation therapy, but it's one of the reasons why you need to be followed up when you're done with your treatments, even beyond the 5 years, so that something can be caught early enough if necessary. Until next time, this is Paul's Heart.